everybody. Welcome to today's episode of DownStream Outdoors. Today on DownStream Outdoors, we're going to start off with our weekly segment about sponsoring DownStream Outdoors. The easiest way, the cheapest way, and the nicest way. Like, share, comment. Like, share, comment, YouTube, Facebook, any way you find us, that's the way to share us. We really appreciate it. Anybody that takes the time out of their day to share us and like us or even comment on anything, it really helps us out in the end and really keeps us going. Other ways to help sponsor our products is to buy some of our DownStream Outdoor products. This week's featured product is our all-natural honey pops. They're made with our own raw honey and raw natural cane sugars, filtered water, and that is it. No artificial flavors, colors, or preservatives. These are currently available at Little Rock Natural Remedies in McKee and at Saxton Outdoor Supply in Saxton. And now on with this week's episode. On this week's episode, we are delighted to have Creg Strock from Aquatic Imitations on the show this week. I recently went in with Creg and spent some time with him and shot a series of videos with Creg all about fly tying. And this is the first one that we shot together, and we're going to show them to you coming up over the next several weeks here to help get everybody in the mood for trout season, because we have nuts right around the corner. But I'm going to stop yakking and let Creg do the real talking.
Hello, my name's Creg Strock. I am owner of Aquatic Imitations. We welcome you. This is our first video that we're going to put online. So needless to say, I'm a little nervous. Kind of bear with me while I get through this. Before we get into the fly tying end of it, we really want to talk about the equipment that you need to start as a fly tyer. There's some basic information, different kinds of equipment that's available. You don't have to spend a lot of money. It's an enjoyable pastime, and the supreme thing is to catch a fish on a fly that you've tied yourself. So saying that, let's get into some of the equipment that you will need to start as a fly tyer. The most important thing is a vise. That is the main thing that you need to hold your hook in place while you attach your thread, your feathers, your dubbing, all the other necessities to create your own fly. There are numerous kinds of vices available, and we have them all here available at Aquatic Imitations. Everything from a Thompson starter vise up to a Renzetti. Now vices is going to be one of your first major purchases. They will run anywhere from $39 up to $800. There isn't any sense as a beginner of spending a lot of money when you don't have to. The whole idea is for the hook to be held securely in the vise while you attach your materials. I have some examples here I want to show you. This is a Griffin vise. It attaches to the counter or your tabletop. It is a cam spring-loaded vise, a beginner's vise, but very, very functional. I want to say that I started out 54 years ago when I started tying flies with something very similar to this. I graduated through the time, but now here at the shop I tie about 7,000 flies a year versus the average fly tyer that may tie 100 to 200 for their own personal use. Now, as I said, this is a very functional vise. It's on the inexpensive line. They run probably somewhere around $50. The next step up is a vise that is a pivotal vise, and I personally feel it is very, very important to have a full rotary vise. When I say rotary, I mean that you can turn the head 360 degrees to see exactly what the fly looks like, top, bottom, and both sides while you're tying it. And I'll show you exactly what I mean here on this vise. This vise will hold anything from a size 2 hook up to a size 28. Size 28, you could probably put 6 or 7 on your little fingernail. But when you're tying a fly, to be able to take the head and turn it 360 degrees so you can see both sides, the top and the bottom, to make sure that everything looks good on all four sides. This is extremely important, and I feel a great asset in a vise. The next vise is what I personally use myself. This is a Dan vise. It is full rotary, just like the one I just showed you, where it turns 360 degrees. It is cam levered, has a holder that you can pull your thread out of the way. It attaches to the counter just like these other ones. I've tied probably 70,000 flies to date on my vise, and it still works as well as the day I bought it. This one runs about $120, so it's a step up from these, but it's not going to break the bank. The next vise is what they call a pedestal vise. It doesn't attach to the counter. It has a weighted pedestal. It comes in, it's a travel vise, you can take it anywhere. Once again, this is a rotary vise. It spins 360 degrees. This was made by A.K. Best, famous fly tyer, still alive. He's written out I don't know how many books. Excellent vise. Something like this, now you're into the $200 to $300 range. And then you step up, there's HMGs, there's Regals, there's Renzettis. They run anywhere from $300 to $800. I mean, if you're tying as many flies as I tie a year, then you might want to make the initial investment to buy a very, very good vise. Personally, I don't think it's necessary, but my opinion. Well, now we get into the tool end of it, and these are some basic tools that you have to have when you're tying. The very first one is a bobbin, and this is what holds your thread in place while you're tying. They make two different types. One is a straight, what they call a flared tip bobbin. It has, and this is what I use because I think it works very, very well. Inexpensive, so I have set up, I don't like changing threads, so I probably have 30 of these already loaded with different colors of thread, so as I need them to change colors and patterns of flies, I just grab one that's already loaded. You don't need 30. If you have 4 or 5, that's more than enough to take care of the basic colors of thread that you're going to need. The other type has a ceramic tip. There's a ceramic tube that goes up inside of it. A lot of people like them. They're more expensive. I don't see a need for them, but it's a preference of choice. Your next item is your threader. This is how you take the thread from the spool up through the tube and out the front. You insert it down through the tube, stick your thread through that gap right there, and just pull it back out, and it pulls the thread right with it. Your next item of importance is hackle pliers. If you're going to wrap hackle, you need hackle pliers, non-slip. There's little rubber inserts on both sides so it doesn't tear the hackle up the feather. As I refer to as hackle in the fly tying industry, it's your chicken feathers or your grouse or your quail, whatever type of game bird that you have. Very important, very functional, and a must. The next item is dubbing wax. When you dub bodies, whether it be for a nymph, a wet fly, a dry fly, a streamer, whatever fly you're tying, I always use dubbing wax and wax the thread. The reason for that is it makes your material stick to the thread more evenly and gives you a better body when you dub it. This BT's dubbing wax is probably the best I've found in 54 years of tying. We carry it here at Aquatic Imitations, so it is available. This is a whip finishing tool, very important tool. It's used to finish off the head of your fly when you're finally done with it. Very easy tool to use. We will be doing a video ourselves on the proper use and technique on how to use this tool makes your life a lot simpler. Next item, and very important, is a good pair of scissors. Very sharp, pointed, long points. You use this to trim all your hackle, all your materials. Easiest way is find a set that has finger holes big enough to fit your fingers. There are plenty out there. The best that I have ever found is Dr. Slick's. They make a line of tools that are absolutely exceptional. The next is a dubbing, what they call a bodkin. Now, I made my own. I took a piece of cork and stuck a regular threaded, I guess you would call it a sewing needle, through it and glued it in. You use this to pick out your dubbing to make legs on nymphs. You can use this for other items, but a useful tool. Next is your deer hair comb. When you're tying patterns that require deer hair, elk hair, when you cut it, you have to take this comb and comb all the under fur out from underneath it to get rid of the junk before you tie your materials in. Useful tool all the time. Last tool on the list would be a set of tweezers. I use these for picking up beads when I'm threading hooks through a bead head, or when I'm tying lively legs. You'll find this is an invaluable little tool. You can pick these up at any big box store. That takes pretty much care of the tools that you will need when you do this. Now I can tell you, for all the tools that you will need, plus a vise, this is your basic setup that you will have to have before you start tying your first fly. To give you an idea of initial cost to set up for your vise and all your required tools, depending upon the purchase of your vise, that is your biggest expenditure, but you can set up, and with all your tools, for probably somewhere between $100 to $125 and have a very good set to start with that will last you probably 15, 20 years at least before you would have to change out anything. Scissors may be your one thing that you would have to change out prior to that, but your vise, your bobbin, your hackle pliers, everything else should last you a long time. Here's my station that I use for tying my flies for the volume that I tie here at the shop. Give you a quick tour of my station. As you can see, I have all my bobbins set up with different threads, depending upon what fly I'm tying, what color of thread I need, and what thickness of thread, depending upon what I'm using. As you can see, I have all my tools laid out that they're easily accessible at reach. I have my vise set up with a lighted magnifying glass that really helps when I'm tying real small flies, 18s, 20s, 22s, and smaller. As you can see, another thing that I use quite a bit, and this is head cement. This is Sally Hansen Hard as Nails. Excellent product. Gives a really nice shine on the back of a wing case of a nymph, and it's a hardener, so it also cements your thread when you finish it. We will be doing some videos that will be coming up, and we're going to post of different fly patterns that are some of my favorites, well used here in this central Pennsylvania area and all of our streams. All the materials that we use for these patterns are here and available at Aquatic Imitations. We are very proud to say that we have the largest selection of whiting hackle anywhere here in central Pennsylvania. We're very, very proud of the selection that we have. If there is a material that you might need that we don't have, I can get it for you. We have a lot of materials here that I just ran out of space to hang that I have available anyway. But everything that any pattern that you can think of, we have the materials to complete that pattern. All the materials we have here, we will be doing the videos forthcoming for patterns, and we will be showing you how to take all these different materials, put them to good use, be successful in catching your first fish on a fly that you've tied.
What a great episode. I love that episode. I can't wait to get into the actual fly tying part. There's a real artistry that I feel comes with fly tying, and Creg really has it on point. The information he provided in this video I felt was really good and really informative, and he was a natural on camera, believe it or not. But that seems to come when you're talking to people who really love what they're teaching about. Guys like Bill Weaver and Creg Strock and Mikey Kiefer and all these guys that are real true outdoorsmen, that really have a passion for a certain aspect of outdoors. These guys, they become camera naturals because they just have such a passion for that one particular thing, and they love sharing it with people. So until next time, keep your line wet and out of the trees.